Hello everyone, I'm Siang Yew.
Hello everyone, my name is Yen Theng.
Hi, I'm Mervin and this is our video.
Once upon a time, there was a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She lived with her mother in a village near a forest. One day, Little Red Riding Hood went to visit her grandmother. She took a basket of food with her. On her way, Little Red Riding Hood met a wolf. "Hello," said the wolf. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to visit my grandmother who lives in the forest," explained Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf ran to grandmother's house. He went inside, put on a nightgown, and got into her bed. A little later, Little Red Riding Hood came to the house. She knocked on the door, then went inside. Little Red Riding Hood went over to grandmother's bed. "Oh, Granny, what big ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with," answered the wolf. "Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to see you with," replied the wolf. "Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have," gasped Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," replied the wolf. "Help!" shouted Little Red Riding Hood as she realized that there was a wolf in her grandmother's bed. She ran out of the house. A woodcutter was nearby. He heard Little Red Riding Hood scream and ran to the house. The woodcutter hit the wolf over the head. The wolf ran away, and Little Red Riding Hood never saw him again.
So for the synopsis part, as you can see in the first scene, that there's a little young lady called Little Red Riding Hood. Red in short lived with her mother in a small village near the forest. One day she brought a basket of fruits with her and went to visit her greatly ill grandmother who lived in the forest. In the second scene, which is in the forest, she bumped into a wolf suddenly and was questioned by the wolf about the place she was heading to. Red innocently answered the wolf about her visit to her grandmother's, but she didn't know that this would put herself in danger later. The wolf then made an excuse and ran quickly to her grandmother's house, dressed up in her grandmother's nightgown, and laid on the bed quietly awaiting for Red's arrival. A little while later, Red arrived and was shocked to see the change in her grandmother's face. She didn't know that at first that there was a wolf until the wolf has no more patience and couldn't wait any more longer to eat her up. But fortunately, in the end, she was saved by the woodcutter nearby. So this project is inspired by the folktale book named Little Red Riding Hood, which is written by a French author called Charles Perrault. The second thing that inspired us is that the teaching lessons of life in this story. The story teaches us that we should not put any trust in strangers, and also the importance of obeying our parents. Lastly is that we are very grateful for having this opportunity to turn this story into an animation, which this brings in more conveniences and fun to the younger generation instead of reading the book itself.
Now, let's discuss some of the technical details of our group project. First of all, this project is all about making animation with free choice of software. Our team decided to choose Alice 3 for our project. So, why we chose Alice 3? The Alice 3 is the newest installment of the Alice programming language. It is exciting and creative first programming experience with an added emphasis on object-oriented concepts. It also has a rich gallery of models for us to spark our creativity. The Alice tree also provided various types of scene for the user, from almost all scenes on the Earth to the Moon and Mars. Besides, there are also preset scenes with models for the people who want to start the project directly without planning and adding the models. Our group chose grass, wonderland, and room scene for our project, which suits our topic, the Little Red Riding Hood. We set up our scene by ourselves by set up the scene with various models according to our storyline and also decorating the room with models. After that, we chose at least a wolf and a man, which is the woodcutter, as our character. After the long process, we need to adjust the camera for our recording. We use the blocks inside to control the camera position and movement in order to match our storyline and make the story to be more dramatically. For example, we want to make the camera move near to the wolf. We need to use these camera blocks and set it move toward the wolf. Then we need to set the distance and the duration with animation style. Besides, we also use the blocks to control the movement and the action of the character inside by controlling each part of the body in order to make the character move. By making them walking, we need to code the blocks from head to body to hands and to legs, which we need a lot of time to master it. Well, those codes are actually programmed under the Java language. Nextly, we record our animation with QuickTime Player from Mac OS. We screen record it and crop it into a full screen video. For the audio, we combine various of online source video into one and edit into our video. Lastly, we use Jianying for the editing. Since all recording and audio are separated, we need to use Jianying to combine our recording and audio together. Then, arrange the timing in order to match the animation. Then, let us discuss the technical difficulties that our team experienced. The Alice Tree software lacks some customization features, making it difficult for us to carry out our design. The model appearance cannot be customized through the use of color or clothing, which is a little boring. In addition, some models such as blanket are missing, which has a big impact on our team animation design. The software also lacks a recording function, which would allow us to directly record our animations in the software after completing our project. We use QuickTime Player to record the screen and crop it ourselves, which takes a long time. We hope that the Alice Tree developer will add these functions in the future. Because this is a group project, we divide the tasks into three. We complete the animation as a group. After we finish our parts, we must edit all of those animation together to create a full animation. This takes a lot of time. In order to create a perfect animation, we must arrange the timing of the audio and animation during the editing process. Finally, the most distressing part is the software crash. During the animation process, the software keeps crashing, following a deep lesson in which we lost everything we have created. As a result of this lesson, we save our project every few minutes, just in case the software crashes again and we lost everything we haven't saved. Aside from the software crash, there are numerous bugs. For example, some models cannot be placed in the scene because one place they are transparent and cannot be seen. Even some models' colors keep changing or disappear, which is very inconvenient for us. Despite the fact that we faced numerous challenges, our team was able to complete the project on our own and successfully complete our storyline.
This is my project experience, and first is to make to learn something I've never used before, which is Alice Tree. Second, plan and design layout, scene, planning of camera position and moves. Third is locate the blocks and the way to make the object move, which is coding. And fourth is executed and exceeded, incorporating each of the idea. And the last is have fun and a great experience with my teammates.
For the individual's accountability, I, Siang Yew, created the room scene, which includes setting up the scene and decorating it. Then, there is the animation in the room. I did code the blocks for the camera movement and the character animation. As a group, the other members of my group and I discussed and finished the storyline together. We finished the animation and then write and report as needed. Then, there's the recording scene in the room, which I have screen record because it doesn't have a recording function. Finally, after each of our team members recorded their presentations, I was in charge of video editing the presentation to combine them all into one.
So for my part of the individual accountability, I made scenes for the beginning part, Red's grandmother's house, and also the ending part. For setup scene tools, I used cottages, grass, plants, Alice's character, and also 2 elder adults. While for the scene recordings, I used my computer's screen recorder, and video cropping and cutting are done before saving into MP4 formats.
So these are the 3 parts for my individual accountability, which is background, scene and animation, and storyline. First part, which is background, I use Wonderland, trees and plants, Little Red Riding Hood, and Yew. These are the 4 things I use to edit the background. Second part is scene and animation. As you can see, this is the block I located. The scene is when Little Red Riding Hood and Yew talking to each other. And this scene is when Little Red Riding Hood walking on her way to her grandmother's house. You can also see how I locate the block to let the Little Red Riding Hood walks. The last part is storyline. The storyline is based on the Little Red Riding Hood. The part of the story I've done, which is the Little Red Riding Hood, is on her way to her grandmother's house and encountered by a youth. For conclusion, S3 is a program that enables us to carry out our team's idea and successfully complete the project. Although there were some technical difficulties during the creation of this animation and much more time was spent learning as we were new to it, but we will complete the task on time. The purpose of using LH3 to create this Little Red Riding Hood animation story is to get an important message: never trust on strangers. Overall, the final project was enjoyable and I learned how to divide, label, and cooperate with teammates. So the moral of the story is never put trust on strangers.
And that brings us to the end of our presentation. We would like to thank you for your time and attention. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask us. We will try our best to answer.